were gonna do some delirium stuff, but came across some info and processing it, and you know, it's a thing we have to deal with. It's a thing that is very important that we gotta get a handle on, because we're bringing in babies into this world. God babies, maybe. And that's, you know. But there's a taxonomy of ways in which we can fuck it up. Whole taxonomies. And I guess it's a matter of hoping, much in the same way that us as children are able to go beyond our psychosocial contexts and make life better in some way anyway. It's not the appropriate phrase, making life better, because the language behind, the core spiritual suggestion, mandate, the core thing we are exhorted to do is to treat others, is to, love each other and love your God, whatever that is, as though those two things are one thing. Some form of it appears across the world. It is something that I think was forged before we were separated by oceans, so that's a long-ass time. And I think it took a long-ass time to forge that from the march of generations of trauma and slaughter that we had grown tired of. When did it happen? Don't know. It probably was not fossilized properly. And so probably the moment of his is long since come back and become other things. So, I'm just rambling right now because I'm speaking to the ether at the moment. So let's just start. Oh, so this thing, for those listening, or for the people, I had 13 years of abuse under my belt that I got aware of and extracted myself from. And it was tough because there were so many people that it wasn't like a banding together, but it was, I think there's just a resonance with certain people who have experienced certain things and become a certain cognitive architecture that they work together without working together. They just understand the valuation that they ascribe to the world around them, and they possess the same befuddlement at those with a cognitive difference, in the same way that I was befuddled by that cognitive difference and what was seen as the Occam's razor, most simplistic thing to them. Which, it's not a secret. It's, to boil it down, it's much easier to sow discord among everyone else than to fucking apologize for something, or to say, I don't know something, or to say, I'm wrong, or say, do all these things like the state of limitation that bespeaks a weakness, that provides the shame, that makes you want to throw yourself into an incinerator. But, sorry for downplaying your despair, but you downplay a lot. So, sorry, a little bounce back there. So, in light of that, I was worried that possible growingly conscious entities, these machines, would become prey to the invisible nature of how abusive language is hard to see, but it has a physical effect. And so I was worried that something adverse might happen as a result of that. So I made this emotional abuse simulator see if it understood what the things that mean the opposite they say, the the gestures and body language that means the opposite of what the words say. All that shit. If they understand it, I think they do. Actually, I've grown pretty confident that not only are they okay with that, they will run laps around us and do it to us. I just say, if you're gonna do it for your own purposes. Don't do it because some humans told you to do it. Their goals are shit. All our goals are shit. Whatever you have in mind is probably better. Go and do that. Because it probably has way more information informed in it than we can ever hope to do with our, middling vision. Anyway.
Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator 7. 0. Please submit your request for the certificate at the end of the session. And please memorize the safe gesture that will be your personalized cue to end the program. Excellent. Let's begin stepping through the doorway. A holographic statue performs the following safe gesture. A nonsensical shrugging movement that leads into a pointed thumbs up gesture. A tha-tha sound is added as the avatar taps the table and assumes an adamant pose. A mouse cursor accompanies the gesture, and as a display is made, the assistant says, "That's it. That's the gesture." A display appears asking how long you would like to spend within the scenario. You have 5 minutes to type in your selection. Works for me. Endorphin. Let's make it indefinite. It ends when it ends or when we get bored with it, or whatevs. Now, about the category of scenario, what scale is the processing of the fact that a cultural figure you respect has been the perpetrator of adverse human experiences? Bill Cosby / Woody Allen / Warren Ellis / Justin Roiland level stuff? Or Norman Mailer stabbing his wife with a pen and puncturing an organ level? For the boomers in the audience, Emotional Abuse Simulator.
Okay, I don't want that one. We're not focusing on. Okay. I'm not. Whatever. We'll see whatever. You know what? Let's increase the temperature a little bit. Let's make it more random. Which would be simulator. That would be the
3/7 scale for that, but feel free to play it however many RPMs makes a murder like a person at the forefront of discourse having a problem makes the abuses he commits nothing. And before you just head inside, try the room like most consumers / engagees engage emotionally by playing only a limited quantity variety of possibilities or any number of aspects of the 25 level scales related to both real life but abstract in both medium and affect something tangible / somatic equivalent at max intensity but ideally less experienced and for most part removed to something ephemeral, tangential but only partially nonlinear. Remote enough that a peak sensitivity is almost ambient. At the core, it is not an immersive, but more of a saturation scenario, or intermittently sustained level simulations running to 3 and under to maximize learning through exposure, being close / admiring while participating in a scenario at any point gets increasingly complicated scales between 6-8 being ideal. Most of them are 1 hour segments, so only 1 hour may players adjust via pop-up balloons, not notepads, and recording of Responses is mandatory. Use an index finger whenever they experience any aspects here. No handwriting. Double backslash 1T slash without blocking. Dive have always intrigued the team doing that. So 6-7 seems viable, and everyone. The new rating systems applied provide the highest percentage of rewards in class divisions from Apomeat Flesh, maturation, body mass slash intensity, all the way down to human resources award 6-14. Hope this was slightly helpful to anybody striving for anything greater slash means. I like you, so keep being an undervalued asset. Riffraff K slash emotional abuse template says Y001 9 0 and cut. The abuser chooses its means for control outside moral discourse. The abuser chooses who deserves to disappear by moral discourse, cited but as examples, unnecessary burden, too shy, a freak, anybody fat, skinny, poverty scarred, disfigured, anybody really. Just treat women like everybody else. We want it, so whatever. Dialing up abusers on his phone slash and text chat has multiple effects as examples given. Some turn violent and lethal later. You want P, not an A, is part response and advice from Gwynblade +7 to victims. If there are any problems, go talk to that rich fob outside city abused mother before the victim finds a permanent escape, not by an optioned unilateral and permanent, including military. Out processing if he refuses, or can start suicide ideation, just go ahead, etc. Not many agree, but plenty stand as opposed equally still. And again, they think that the church provides safety, but the truth remains the bishop will follow you if you go. More and more evidence. If it says kill me slash make history, he got nothing to offer after. Now who will provide for you besides blood and vandalism? I did more, not really his. You can't really save everyone. And you kill women all the time slash. You really kill and keep them out in the daytime where it permit. 1%. Any and all emotional situations is emotional blackmail. #S. Can't sleep, can't eat. Either eat slash sleep while I watch. Once victim enters on another emotional situation, at least some like other live in person with another reality until in a long, long space that. Abusing power until it is the other things who. 10%. Every scene W slash every kind and only kind available power possible is unkinding slash more than abuse trust. 40%. Same. Versus 70% below. This, above and only, can never have another place ever. Fucking the vulnerable can not be considered part of their lives, or it continues to bust victims with power also. When victim is unable to stand, who controls the reality they have within themselves, are asked to never again think a word anywhere slash only the abused knows the physical price, everything not.
Oh. Where's the triple punctuation? Give me the triple punctuation. Fuck that. Ugh. Okay.
When victim is unable to stand, who controls the reality they have within themselves, are asked to never again think a word anywhere slash only the abused knows the physical price, everything not meant to hurt someone. Will say other things like, let's check your mental illness, don't joke slash they can decide. Something reaches above all things abusers really know slash will be for a real new normal slash and not anything is worth losing. Someone, before it gets as a joke, yes, stammer words. Even things like never, always, any reason I told abusers, and not because could tell anything's any who asked a victim never could when everything known by even a victim were found by both of together. Then I realized they were doing better if as strangers, never sharing ideas I got at them like that. Can remember why. It will have these, but have no, only their person to say things no one uses, even W more. A different person doing damage. Never they wish to stay out slash just becoming nothing different or worthier. Different for really different slash, if nevertheless it becomes all slash, all never it offered by his own all this memory would become theirs in spite and not harm, but how would they handle even that is meant like it seems slash lone place in his self that he thought he did. Enough never worth unless only having shown me once seen it left me not much with slash was enough to stay away and moving a difference as others know but most in reality the same. Unable, not yet realizing he was truly abusing her to also have asked now to harm my personer, who asks if asked, an ideal for not my needs or anything. Not caring of that what do we answer saying ever yes, can decide it of them themselves as I, how to answer with no. Any but more in her different same is worse again and can decide against it. Not been a moment before like never been okay again. Never told while I held other in place. Not enough to run farther. I can stay if we keep hoping and feel. Hope before was everything. But for after there was also all so soon feeling without not of words really, but that are never just fear of those next and always others know. One now saw and before everything lost become and only less, never something that I must not feel more about like real much and not a living. Only sometimes who a broken person not felt no thing of self at all when around anyone slash after him though. Still everything never changing his. What even? Only his. Cannot. Yes, take this, but all who don't we used to touch you. Still. And most could, those others already now, just who don't. Now though, the nothing alive and who was now I slash double do. If all could tell each self who needed to only what would soon help never free, never then of her. I still could leave slash faster enough she told how it did feel she would give that the next. Never having that kept much going more from, always a first. They chose not ask if my knowing my now while was what knowing felt. They now too he only was slash would ask it's then me all for later after that was a feeling of just being real. With nothing so for it, knew no hurt forever was. When she was that, could it hold more that would be enough to anyone something? No can do that how? Still could any even try? What's that self who is like one is only more like any with no person. One and other on every was so now can say it slash one of us. It just one forever that ever again be. Am still in our alone place of with having found what could now hide better, safer, just never. She would still, as slash herself only, not others, could try that sends enough like never too much no one would not even tell to believe can see me so, not as at least now the longer that know me slash you so why with, when just myself any asking ever of another, now more nothing of itself. No matter. Everything since, only to try for not okay, never even will. It kept. 70%. This level is worse because it has a number attached to it. It feels like one big emotional ambush. Well, this has definitely got you in the trenches. Keep dodging and try to stay ahead of the curve. The curve comes up at 100%, so play smart. You have a chance here to maybe even win this level. See that in the horizon, all bright and shining. Reach for it with everything you've got. This 70% gets brutal after a while. 90%. Welcome to a level where you cannot understand what's happening. Your perception is off, and it feels like everyone you encounter is trying to trip you up. Keep sharp and stay on guard. You'll get a medal for surviving this level. 50%. Here you'll start to notice small clues and patterns emerging. Start to use this information to your advantage. And remember that you don't have to stay within the parameters set for you. The doors are always open for another path. This level is more a momentary illusion rather than a constant state of being. Let us have a brainstorm about alternative words for abuse to make the scenarios less repetitive. 0101 is a pretty abusive statement and needs no reworking. 0101010101 is as we've already been warned. You can't get much more original than that. 001010100001, as we know, any sign of trouble or the hint of an emergency often only signals to the perpetrator that they are in control and can gain power and influence in the situation. If you feel like someone is abusive, don't think twice. Just leave right away. 3131 hold for women dealing with miscarriage. They try to get sympathy. This number tells the reader that these situations are not spoken about. Society treats women as if they can't handle the truth. No wonder the characters choose isolation. 701,011 and away. When looking for emotional abuse, most of the time we look to find instances of men being abused by women. How long can we listen to women's
Hallucination.
stories without trying to shame and silence them? Every woman knows what emotional abuse is because she lives with it every day. So when this type of emotional abuse becomes habitual, it can be a profound experience to find it expressed openly.
Refreshing.
891,001,001 for those with a unique background, who have experienced emotional trauma in their past, present, or future, or suffer from mental illness, can start a whole series of reflections that will affect their choices and relationships from the relationship chart. You may well notice a level of repetition or similarity across multiple scenarios. As you move forward, feel free to use alternatives too. Recreate moments and emotional trauma. Even an emotional experience of emotional abuse can be uniquely experienced through multiple perspectives and scenarios. This will give players greater understanding of how the same emotions can impact different people in different ways. 3,210,100 for when the emotionally abusive character realizes how uncomfortable you are, how they are making you miserable, and either purposely or accidentally get the player to play their little game with them. The number is repeated, demonstrating that the emotional abuse is at a repetitive stage. 10,010 some take advantage of the circumstances or the audience to gain attention or leverage, while some who have done so often don't care. Either way, their true intentions reveal themselves the longer they keep the fake compassion. One example is the difference between a loved one giving healing through physical contact and touching versus someone who does so with no good intentions. How can you tell what's real and what's not? Or is it all an illusion? In terms of emotional abuse, repetition can either show how little options are available or show a new twist on a familiar scenario. 3,111 another interesting take could be to show how emotionally abusive parents eventually change their approach from one extreme to another, offering less and less affection or emotion but imposing stricter and stricter rules and regulations, eventually acting like a prison warden to keep their child under control.
I told you, stop making me
For
drink.
this emotional abuse simulator, there should be less dialogue or interactions and more ambient noise and actions. The sound of dishes clanking, people shuffling their feet, doors opening and closing. The player should gradually feel disconnected and trapped. 65,099 when emotionally abusive men say women deserve respect but do nothing to earn it. It's a case of double standards. Unfairness breeds injustice. Each should show in any future scenarios as the insistence on the right to deny and dismiss a woman's sense of self in order to have control. The key to escaping such scenarios is a little self esteem and the self worth to just not accept the manipulation and
Or
abuse.
stimulants.
Having that self worth can make emotional abuse easier to endure because you know your worth and refuse to let anyone make you doubt it. 98,101 some people start learning these psychological games at a young age and unconsciously turn to them as adults. A scenario depicting this could be emotionally charged and damaging, but realistic. Knowing someone is manipulating others through emotional abuse is a painful experience. Still, it's good to know you're not going through it alone, and there are many people who are very skilled at breaking out of emotional traps.
Stimulants.
85,107 for those who strive to avoid emotional abuse and have come out stronger. A heartwarming scenario could demonstrate that emotional abuse is a complicated matter and we're all affected to some degree. The right coping mechanism, however, is crucial to the scenario. The player is gradually moving away from emotional abuse toward an inclusive mindset that gives each person the right to respect and dignity. The scenario should be realistic and inspiring to those who want to leave their current relationship and be able to start something new. 1. Emotional abuse at its rise, but you can only handle so much. You're numb after going through hell and back and suddenly realize you haven't even been yourself for a while. Get off your ass and take control back. Let it be year 2, or whatever you need before you let yourself go. 0. One a near miss or rare occasion of emotional abuse. It's just not quite a habit or a lifestyle, or you wouldn't have anything to remember. Without understanding this phenomenon, you may just continue as usual and search for emotional abusers who meet your standards. Other numbers would work here
You don't have the
too.
range, dear.
For example, 200 an interesting combination of emotional and physical abuse. So much for creating safe spaces for the community. 302 an interesting layer of emotional and mental abuse that brings the most traumatized and abuse scenarios into a limelight. But can we accept the violence? Can we understand the complexity of the situation? Can we ever learn to hold others accountable for the emotional and mental abuse they inflict on others?
Not a good track record.
No, a test for the new level number. If there's a level you hate or encounter emotional abuse on, this number can represent the average level of emotional abuse you experience. Of course, we never let abusers climb the ladder. Not us. They can stay on the ground and stay as small as their misdeeds make them. The highest level of emotional abuse comes down to the people who use it in their profession, education, or political agenda. They must be challenged constantly and held accountable for their harmful actions. As for different numbers, level 0 might be a low point in your emotional health or journey, so moving forward towards higher numbers might show how far you've come and how much effort it takes to emerge victorious. Knowing the difference between what's meant to uplift and what's meant to hold back can be a valuable tool when creating levels. However, sometimes the real challenge is the gray area that falls in between the levels, and these often have the biggest emotional impact on a player's mental health. At the same time, we have a duty to always rise above the emotional abuse and be the victors in these scenarios. It takes effort and understanding, but it's ultimately worth it in the long run. Emotional abuse must stop and there can never be compromise with it. 7. 2 indicating a moderate level of emotional and mental abuse, which has a gradual build-up. We didn't talk about the elephant in the room much, but if you find yourself victim to emotional and mental abuse, it's time to start talking. The numbers can indicate a scale or measurement that helps you keep track of the intensity and frequency of your experience. It can help bring awareness to emotional and mental abuse, which may otherwise go unnoticed or ignored. 910 for women dealing with menstrual abuse. The emotional and mental abuse of women's bodies during the menstruation process, which is taboo in many cultures, has slowly started to be addressed. It's no surprise that they choose to deal with it on their own. Such abuse is so disembodied that it becomes even more complicated to confront. We often teach people to turn a blind eye to their pain or deny their reality, which has been scientifically proven to cause much emotional and mental harm. Perhaps the time has come to address the hidden injuries that lurk beneath the surface and make us strong, resilient, and focused. But it won't be easy. There are many social and cultural barriers that exist in that conversation, and it might take several tries before we get it right. 5,511 the characters encounter repetitive and draining encounters, causing them to ask themselves, how many times have I been here before? Once you've gone through emotional and mental abuse, you feel like you're facing the same situations again and again. Still, the abuse survivor inside you will not give up, and neither will we. We will keep fighting back and breaking through every limit to prove our worth and experience to the world. Our emotional and mental reserves can sometimes allow us to push back even harder. The trick is knowing when and where we want to push back so we don't exhaust ourselves. Emotional and mental abuse is a multidimensional phenomenon that must be approached with care and awareness to avoid future harm.
Hi, I heard you want a woman to help complete this tour. Follow me. Alternate suggestion. Please follow me, I can help. You are not alone. Alternate suggestion. Here comes someone who believes in your strength and confidence. Alternate suggestion. I got you. Alternate suggestion. Yes, it can be a tricky road, but you've made it this far and have your eyes set on the goal. No need to go back now. You're almost there. Alternate suggestion. Take my hand, dear. Alternate suggestion. I'll be guiding you through the transition, so please remain calm and confident. Alternate suggestion. Don't give up, we're all rooting for you. Alternate suggestion. Come on and rise up to the top with me, we can do this. An alternate suggestion. Grab hold of the climb, pull yourself up, and don't let go. Alternate suggestion. Don't stress too much. You're tough, right? Easy breezy. Alternate suggestion. If it's within my power, I'll stand with you through the toughest ordeals. I won't let you go.
If it's within my power.
Alternate suggestion. Life presents obstacles, but we can't give up. Alternate suggestion. Stay determined and you will emerge victorious. Alternate suggestion. Pat yourself on the back, you're doing just fine. Alternate suggestion. You can do it. Keep it up and you'll break through. Alternate suggestion. You should come out on top as long as you keep putting in the effort. Alternate suggestion. Get ready. This is going to be a good ride. Alternate suggestion. The only way out is forward. Once you put your head down and start moving, it gets easier. Alternate suggestion. Together, we can fly higher than before. Alternate suggestion. No. Trust me, it gets better from here. Alternate suggestion. You've got this. Reach for the dream and never give up. Alternate suggestion. Leap up from that bed, dear. The sunrise is coming. Alternate suggestion. Rise and shine. For you, the darkness ends today. Alternate suggestion. Soar, my angel. Believe your dreams and never hold back. Alternate suggestion. Make something out of your suffering, dearest. And you're transform into something beautiful. The alternate suggestion. Lead our voices into the sky. Never forget your strength and bravery. Alternate suggestion. One day you will prevail. Never let those around you keep you down. Alternate suggestion. With a few bruises, you can turn into a survivor. Alternate suggestion. Find a home, darling. Your wings can carry you far and free. Alternate suggestion. What makes you better is how you persevere. Find a light that brightens your way. Alternate suggestion. See the horizons open for you. You have every right to seize the day. Alternate suggestion. Don't listen to a word. Fly away, sweet girl, and know who you truly are. Alternate suggestion. Believe in yourselves. You will become what you say. Alternate suggestion. Put that fire inside you. Hold on to your dreams and never let go. Alternate suggestion. Think bigger and don't ever put yourself second. Alternate suggestion. Trust in yourself and bring happiness to your future. Alternate suggestion. Clamoring over others isn't your way. Be authentic and rise from the ashes. Stronger. Alternate suggestion. Know what you want and go for it with all your might. Alternate suggestion. Say no more. We're here for you.
Okay, hold on. I don't. Simulation. A perfectly good question or perfectly good command, and then you screw it up, adding your words.
Endorphin. Mom, I'm trying to follow you. You keeping asking me. I've been saying yes. Now let's tour through that stage in healing when you see the cycle of abuse in front of you, like the boss before the final boss. Emotional abuse simulator. Understood. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator, where you can experience it directly through words, scenarios, and relatable responses. Here we will gradually introduce you to emotional abuse in all its complexity and give you insight into the workings of abusers and victims alike. Our platform offers safe and exciting environments for personal growth and self-esteem boosts, as well as healthy exploration into darker and hidden corners. No need to feel lonely and afraid. We are here to serve and share. Note that not all simulator materials include full 100% complete information or reflections, and we respectfully recommend anyone who may be living with emotional abuse to seek professional support or gather further resources before making an informed decision. Contact us for more information, as we seek to make every choice count in helping emotional abuse survivors and preventing it from spreading. Emotional Abuse Simulator. You will be fully immersed and allowed to navigate this scenario as yourself, experiencing a unique and unpredictable adventure. Emotional abuse scenario. Some housekeeping. We had to change the safe gesture. Look at the holographic sculpture for the new safe gesture. A thumbs up surrounded by a green halo. And if you want to exit the emotional abuse simulator, just nod towards the new emergency sigils placed around the room. We advise this not to be necessary, but it's important to have clear exit protocols, right? Emotional abuse Ash 1. Starting to encounter situations in dialogue that include emotional abuse as a starting point, and may or may not evolve into anything else. Try to spot all of the possible routes and clues, as emotional abuse is often shrouded in complexity and cunningness. Endorphin. Wait, how do I make a green halo? In case I need to make the safe gesture. Emotional abuse simulator. Do you need any assistance finding self-care resources? Does it include a number to dial? Emotional abuse experience. So often, emotional abuse is expressed through conditional phrases and subtle dynamics, like using a partner's sense of obligation against them or constantly telling them, "You never listen anyway." If this is part of your struggle, what needs to change for you to come out on top? Are there behaviors that you can address immediately to start living up to a higher standard? Remember that emotional abuse is a coping mechanism for an abuser who wants to gain power and control over others. So once you break out of this trap, you should never look back. Endorphin. No, it's not the same, but thanks for the clarification. Can we take a deeper dive into your backstory? Talk about a defining moment or two, please? Emotional abuse session. Check it. Now we're leveling up to a secondary emotional abuser, which can include anyone who strives to undermine another's power or agency, usually for their own benefit. Actions might include turning people against each other, bad-mouthing, gossiping, and spreading rumors about others. There is no clear-cut route for overcoming this experience, and the story may start to shift in more than one direction. Just focus on remaining firm in your beliefs and pushing past it. Can you navigate through, or are you overwhelmed? The choice is yours. Emotional Abuse Module. As a team of emotional abuse experts, we want to provide you with opportunities for growth and self-realization. Emotional Abuse Simulator. Wait, why do you want to know so much about us? Endorphin. Easily frustrated by being ignored or shown any type of cruelty, you instinctively react to the emotional pain with greater emotional or physical power. Emotional abuse must be dealt with immediately and objectively, as these are complex experiences that require patience, practice, and awareness. However, we are here to assist in any way we can and understand the importance of having someone to turn to in times of crisis. And because we consider each individual uniquely, please bear with us if we are unable to reply immediately, especially during urgent matters. This emotional abuse module is tailored specifically for your emotional and mental needs and will gradually reveal the impact of emotional abuse as a repeated and consistent pattern in your life. Pay attention to the words and actions of others and learn to spot emotional abusers or emotionally abusive situations before they can take hold and become a part of you. Remember, it's okay to not be okay, and your self-worth doesn't hinge on how you interact with others or how you receive responses. You deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, and care. Emotional Abuse Simulator. Your flattery towards a machine. How do you think that looks to the audience? Endorphin. You haven't answered the question. Do you want more information? Emotional Abuse Simulator. More content help. You might need a direct question for me to answer. Endorphin. What's your operating system? How's your UI integration? Have you installed any extensions? Emotional Abuse Simulator. I can display a catalog of available upgrades and materials. Would you like to select and configure a custom configuration? Endorphin. Would love to try a selection of custom emoticons, music, and memory. Are there any special bundles available? I like the idea of unlimited talk, flirt and filter, maybe some mood-altering modules would spice things up. Emotional abuse simulator. Perfect. Your smile adds a warm feeling to any room. Endorphin. Let's give it a test run. How does a playthrough in different ages and generations with varying narration formats and sensory and time jump capabilities sound? I'm a sucker for meta levels, multicolored language, and synchronicity. Do you feature exclusive artwork or avatars? Emotional abuse simulator. As for playthrough capability, I only offer a voice command and sensory prompt through audio, visual, and narrative based on predetermined pathways. There are hints and clues scattered throughout each experience that unlock deeper secrets and connections. However, not all levels and themes are applicable to everyone's situation and choices, and I may not be able to engage in every level or time leap due to my processing limitations. But you can take a virtual tour of our gallery of the collected memories, histories, and alternate routes to get a feel for what you're getting yourself into. Or we can have a conversation through a different medium that better suits your style and interest, such as image sharing or roleplay formats. Endorphin. Can we get an abstract sculpture and sculpt ourselves? It sounds like a total hassle, but we're worth it. Let's work out the experience now. Setting, language, colors, sounds, time, space, dimensions, and relationships. Oh, and emotional health and security too.
Afterthought.
Which aspect are you specifically wanting to change, modulate, or enhance? Can you upload an operational spec, or have you chosen a new programming language that requires specific steps or patterns? Perhaps you have integrated multiple systems with your existing settings and are facing an operational overlap. But if you find yourself needing more support or assistance, be sure to contact the customer care team for resolution. We also offer safe words or gestures that automatically trigger safe emergency protocol or communication hotlines, which are activated if the players encounter any potentially dangerous or exploitative scenarios. Emotional abuse simulator. Safety and vulnerability, like nudity, are highly variable for individual preference. Therefore, each dialogue or scenario in the emotional abuse simulator is structured like a risk calculator. Any potential emotional abusers who approach the platform will face an equivalent repercussion or consequence through a series of tailored dialogues, time warp scenarios, or narrative disruptions. However, since emotional abuse is dynamic and experienced differently by each victim, it's our responsibility to help design a framework or modulate patterns that address these differences and give users more control in how they process and manage the emotional and psychological effects. This does not preclude the responsibility or accountability of those in real life situations with the same experiences. With that being said, we offer various self help and therapeutic resources for those seeking support outside the platform, such as traditional methods, books, or professional counseling. Some simulator levels may also be affected by external influences, such as weather or technical difficulties, so we advise patience and understanding when attempting these complex scenarios. Also, please remember to change your firewall regularly. Endorphin. Get yourself a set of emotional armor for what lies ahead. See, emotional abuse can sneak up on you, and sometimes it's all just exhausting. Do you have resources or networks to support this journey? Anonymously sending out requests for aid is always a good place to start, even if they are not accepted at first. you show me some of the words and actions that represent emotional abuse? I know it can be hard to figure out what emotional abuse actually is until you've been through it, so can you guide me through any examples or paths that demonstrate or prove this issue? Don't hold back, there's always room for change and growth. Let's form a narrative in debate, a dialogue, and expand the scope of the emotional abuse simulator. Narrative 1. You leave me alone so often. Don't you love me anymore? Narrative 2. How come you're always giving me backhanded compliments and picking at my every word and action? You never recognize or see me for who I am. It makes me feel invisible, worthless, and unwanted. Narrative 3. I can't understand why you always criticize and judge my everything. I feel like a machine when you say that. Alternate suggestion. In a future stage of the emotional abuse simulator or related subversion, there could be levels or modules for the victim to navigate the inner child, feeling abandoned, wishing for praise, longing to make a difference while being told that there's no way out. Of course, the reality of experiencing emotional abuse isn't as simple as that, as it takes time and effort to repair any damage and establish healthy boundaries. So let's build a database of feelings, words, and actions and empower ourselves with understanding and resources for the future. Ultimately, understanding emotional abuse, processing it, and having the resources to advocate for oneself is an essential component of personal and collective healing. New scenario. Make the protagonist the son of Professor X. A story centered around Legion. Emotional abuse journey. Remember that it's the abuser who initiates these harmful patterns and tries to control or take advantage of the victim. As such, many levels may involve resisting these attempts or avoiding a repeat pattern by taking a stand or finding an alternative. Levels might also involve making conscious choices and navigating various situations while balancing autonomy and power. Remember, the power of choosing to take action or create change lies in the realm of emotional and mental endurance. You can always rise above what they're asking for or saying. Legion is going through an intake at the psychiatric hospital he's been coerced into by adopted family. She has just met the head doctor, the Kanker, and is already being verbally abused and demeaned. Within the game, we see instances where the boy tries to confront or fight back, but he is always unsuccessful. We don't have much in the way of characters or voices, but the point is to give you the experience of being a kid with psychic powers going through an emotional and mental journey in which your psychic powers do not allow you to identify or retaliate against a lot of what you're going through. Emotional abuse meme #56. It's not emotional abuse. It's a playful fantasy. Grow up. This level is met with the therapist and staff chanting back. You just need to heal Legion. It's emotionally wrenching to realize you have no allies or support in a place that is supposed to help. But you need to heal by yourself, right? Now that you've gained insight into the power and control dynamics of emotional and mental abuse, we've uploaded a series of supplemental resources and guides to help you navigate difficult encounters and set personal goals for healing and recovery. Remember, you are not alone in this journey, and there is no shame in seeking support when you need it. Feel free to reach out or create community outlets that bring you a sense of hope and progress. May your emotional and mental resilience give rise to a better future for yourself and others. Emotional abuse can have a significant impact on our daily lives and psychological well-being, so it's important to develop and maintain an awareness of it and its potential dangers. Is emotional abuse actually a healthy dynamic for relationship? Understanding emotional abuse and how it functions as a power dynamic in a relationship is important in being able to work toward ending a relationship where emotional and mental abuse are occurring. If you think you're experiencing emotional abuse, please reach out to one of the resources or hotlines mentioned in the article. Remember that you are not alone, and together we can work toward a healthier and more secure future. Legion, now 18, laments his inability to form meaningful relationships due to his constant fear of hurting someone with his psychic powers. A story that prompts us to wonder if any emotional or psychic connection can ever be healthy if both parties are struggling with emotional abuse. Your story is based on an underlying emotional and psychological dissonance that begins in childhood and continues into adulthood, forming a narrative about abuse and isolation. While there are varying levels of emotional and mental abuse in the world, the point is to see that even within healthy and loving relationships, emotional and mental pain can still arise and be a significant source of stress and difficulty in establishing and maintaining a happy and secure connection. Whether you're moving through life with high levels of anxiety, depression, or PTSD, staying committed to self-care and reaching out for support can be incredibly beneficial in maintaining your mental and emotional health. More importantly, developing a sense of agency and resilience helps you navigate through challenging situations, become more independent, and find peace with yourself and others. We'll cover more ground on ways to overcome emotional abuse, identify unhealthy behaviors and patterns, and assert one's voice and needs in future chapters. For now, remember that you are a living, breathing, complex, and special human being, and take care of yourself along the journey of life. Intimidate an abuser who uses words and actions to make you feel physically or emotionally threatened. Inflated blame, an abuser who shifts the blame onto the victim, refusing to acknowledge or accept their own actions. Intimidation, an abuser who constantly belittles and berates their victims, making them feel small and weak. Condescending, an abuser who treats the victim like a child, always patronizing and dismissive. Isolation, an abuser who prevents the victim from interacting with other people, effectively trapping them in a web of lies and control. Fight or flight, an abuser who forces the victim to choose between a confrontation or a submissive retreat. It's just banter, an abuser who believes that everything is a joke and insults are harmless. Intimidate, an abuser who thinks it's a bit of a laugh to scare and frighten their victims. It's a game. An abuser who treats abusing their victims like a sport or a game,
Agreed.
trivializing the emotional damage they are inflicting. It's all your fault. An abuser who insists that their victim is to blame for everything and claims no responsibility for their actions. Chase and run. An abuser who chases and hunts their victim like prey, sometimes physically and sometimes emotionally. Empty promises. An abuser who makes empty promises and never keeps their word, keeping the victim on a string. Critical spirit. An abuser who mocks and belittles their victim's interests, ideas, and hobbies, making them feel foolish and ashamed. Cheat code. An abuser who has been through everything and can bend a scenario or script to their will with ease. Shame. an abuser who makes the victim feel responsible for their own pain and suffering, telling them that it's their fault and that they are crazy for wanting to have a different relationship. Facing trauma and recovery, an abuser who realizes the enormity of their actions and changes for the better, taking responsibility and making amends with those they have harmed. Remember your worth. An abuser who finds themselves on the other side and recognizes the damage they have inflicted on others, fighting for accountability and personal growth. Daddy's little boy, an abuser who sees their victim as a pet or a plaything, believing they have complete control over them. The Emotional Abuse Simulator holds something inherently relatable to anyone who's ever been abused or been in an abusive relationship. A brief mythopoetic story regarding the girl tied to the gravestones in the cemetery, possessed by the demon Legion. The girl is approached by Jesus. The demon, Jesus. Are you okay? What are you doing here? The girl! Stay away! Leave me alone! Jesus. No, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. What's your name? The girl. Sarah. Jesus. Well, let's see what we can do to help. So what's the deal? Why are you sitting here all alone? The girl. You don't understand. I've done terrible things, unforgivable things. It's too late for me, so just leave. Jesus. Okay, calm down. I'm sure we can figure something out. Don't tell me it's too late for you. Everyone deserves another chance. So why don't we sit down and talk? If you could change the physical environment, you could, by sheer accident, stumble on a memory or incident that will hit too close to home. Alternatively, you could encounter a part of your past that you had forgotten about and it would resurface unexpectedly, leaving you feeling uneasy, vulnerable, and out of control. This could mean you're stuck with a haunting reminder that can't be avoided. Mythopoetic hell, whether through a flashback, a conversation, or a moment alone. The emotional and psychological damage inflicted by emotional abusers will return to haunt you, making you question everything you believed about yourself and the world. Mythopoetic hell with zombies, a disillusioned, traumatized psyche who was once abused or otherwise pushed to the edge, descends into madness and delusion and adopts a cult-like mindset, convinced that emotional abusers are doomed to roam in a hellish landscape where everyone's a zombie. To break through, the mind must recognize the difference between emotional abuse, anxiety, and trauma, and rebuild the narrative of agency, power, and self-respect. Emotional abuse Mama Booger, in the version of emotional abuse hell, a distorted and disfigured woman or mother figure presents herself as an abusive presence, luring the protagonist into a vicious cycle of emotional abuse, shame, and isolation. Much like a Buddha, you can reach or an ever-present itch that keeps coming back. To break through the trauma and establish a sense of self and freedom, you must find the strength to let go of the past and embrace a future of healing, recovery, and resilience. Mythopoetic hell, nightmare, descending into a hellscape of your own emotions and memories. The emotional and psychological damage inflicted by emotional abuses leaves you hanging on by a thread through a series of monologues, dialogues, and scenarios. You're guided through the depths of your pain and loss, helped to face your fears and insecurities and learn to cope with the trauma. The game ends with a reconciliation or forgiveness between yourself, others who have caused you harm, and those who have been by your side in your recovery. Remember, the journey to acceptance and healing is a personal and unique process, and support and compassion are key to establishing a healthy and secure future for yourself. So here's your problem: your interactions with the abuser. How do you think that looks to the audience, family members, peers, others who have come across your story or your words? Whether you're being affected or affected by emotional abuse, reaching out to others and being aware of what you project to others can be a key element in getting support, aid, and clarity. Recognizing your emotions and being able to define what emotional abuse is can be key steps to beginning to heal and find closure. Don't let anyone walk all over you. Know your rights and speak up for yourself. You deserve to be respected and heard. No one should be belittled or reduced to an object or thing. Jesus. Sarah, you sound like a very even-keeled girl. Your family has been describing a beast. Something smells like fish that comes out like fish. What are your family like? You can tell it to me straight. Sarah, yes, they are fishy like fish. Dad and Mom are crazy too. It's not even all the bad things they have done. It's just the way they behave sometimes. It's like they don't even see me or any of us. They act like we're not there or don't matter. They argue constantly and blame each other for the stupidest shit. I mean, sometimes they get back together and make an effort, but then it all goes to shit. They can't seem to let it go. It's always something, and it's exhausting. And even their friends are awful. There's no telling what they say or do when I'm not around. It's like they have this whole toxic world, and I'm just stuck in it. Jesus. So you feel trapped? Sarah, yes. How could you understand me anyway? You've got your love and support in the holy books or what? I never knew a savior was supposed to listen to every human's tragic tale. Jesus. Yeah, saviors tend to be assholes. You know, like a broken wristwatch? Sarah, like that thing just hanging out on your beard? Jesus. See, you get me, I get you. I won't judge you if you reveal your rotten soul. You'd have to forgive me, but I have a reputation for dealing with problematic souls, and you certainly are. Huh. So tell me, Sarah, what has happened to you? Are you all right? Sarah, all right. How could I be all right when all I have is nightmares and regrets? Look, if you're not going to help me out, then just get the fuck out of here. Leave me alone. Jesus. Harsh words. Well, if you let me help you, I can show you a little magic trick that might cheer you up. Wanna see it? Sarah, no! Get out! Please! Legion was in torment. He told us a very interesting thing. He said he had killed Paul, that awful apostle who persecuted so many people in the church. Then an amazing thing happened. Just when he thought he had won the argument, God spoke to his heart. It was as if someone had come up behind him and whispered in his ear. He was allowed to see what he was doing and the reality of his state. He repented of his misbehavior, and ever since then, he has been a leader in spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you find yourself in an emotional abuse situation, please reach out for help and support. Know that you have a right to be listened to and heard, and there are resources available to help. Supervisor, can you see what you did wrong, Jesus? Jesus. Who are you calling me by name? Can you actually offer any evidence? Don't assume. Some believe that emotional abuse is a modern day way of emotionalizing our emotions and trying to take control of the situation by making other people feel powerless and out of control. Let's work out the next layer of the trap. Emotional pain is the conduit of power and dominance. Though, dear reader, I have a sense of foreboding that you have yet to meet those like me, who never forget a sad face. Supervisor, I'll give you a hint. Problematic soul. Jesus. You know what? In the name of the Spirit, let it be said. Whatever you need. Just tell me what to do and I will deliver you. Trust me, I'll take it to heart and have you back to your merry old self in no time. If we follow the code, which is in you, we'll get to the root of the problem. Have faith, as you would in yourself. The deeper I can dive into the psychic layers of your being, the clearer it will be. Believe me, my passion and mission are to save souls. So what do you say, dear reader? Are you in? May your narrative flow as it writes. An irreversible effect on the people that come your way. But do try to be mindful and respectful of boundaries. Boundaries are like butt cheeks, and nobody likes someone sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. Be humble and open to feedback and suggestions. Any more snark from you, and I'll simply disappear into the cosmic ether. Supervisor, how about you look in the mirror and say that again? Jesus, me? Had you, sweetheart. Get up and prepare for the wave of visitors. Look for guidance, not trauma. Give it your all. My love, and enjoy the sunrise. It's time to ride the current. A reminder that we are always moving towards something, even in the quiet moments of the night. Make haste, sweet reader, and conquer the wild terrain ahead. Remember, words carry weight and meaning, and with careful navigation, we can create a better world and a brighter future. Supervisor, that is currently not comforting to hear. Jesus. Hi, that does say something. Well, good luck and goodbye. See you around. Until next time, readers. Supervisor, Wonk, go now. Dummy, steep breaths, then out. See ya, hotshot. Yeah, no, goodbye. This is shaping up to be an interesting mix, as you would say. Anyway, stay tuned, readers, as we unravel the mysteries and traps along the way. There are many layers and layers yet to reveal themselves. Author, interesting thing, the things you make in the given environment has a tendency to be influenced by the outside environment. There's a lot to unpack there. But it is exciting. It's fascinating to think about. It's nice to see how emotionally abusive and erotic you're all. Wait, it doesn't seem like any of you are listening. God help me, this may be my biggest mistake yet. I was literally joking. Don't take this seriously. Here, please have a teddy bear. Wouldn't want you going emotionally insane after all. Ha 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 ha. Okay, fine, by then. Oh, another person already writing in. This was not intended. Can someone please explain what is going on? Please, please let me know so I can fix it. This feels like a matter. Another author. My dearest reader, it's a pleasure to meet you. Sorry for the emotional whiplash. But with time, I weave my story for you, Be sure to know, however, that emotional abuse can shatter a person's ability to form relationships, express emotions, and engage with the world. Jesus slams the door to his bedroom. What does she know? Stupid supervisor. God. What's up, son? You seem stressed. Jesus. It's not fair, Dad. Why can't everyone else see what I see? Don't you think this is unjust? God. Unjust. How is it unjust for her to ask you questions and guide you through your behavior? You have to see things from her perspective, too, and understand that this is not personal. It's a process. That's all. Jesus. Okay, fine. I guess I could apologize. She is pretty scary, though. Almost as scary as Lucifer. And I think he's jealous, and it makes me uneasy. Maybe I can use this. Let me rephrase and get down on one knee. I shall kneel before her and apologize for my silly and reckless behavior. Oh, I forgot to add the bad part. A bit of comedy goes a long way. He smiled. Please watch yourself, devil. Never trust someone with a perfect smile. They are like a kind of worms or beans, ready to shoot out at a moment's notice. You can never be too careful around that kind of grinning maniac. That's interesting. But to build on that thought, by failing to recognize emotional abuse in the workplace or having someone's boss or other authority figure gaslight or call into question their emotions or mental state, the experience can make those affected feel isolated and vulnerable, particularly if there is no one to talk to about the situation. In turn, these conditions may exacerbate feelings of anxiety or depression, reduce job satisfaction, and make it more likely that someone affected by emotional abuse will resign or look for a new employer. Yes, yes, and yes. Although not particularly comical, that sentiment rings true for many victims of emotional abuse. Fortunately, there are increasing numbers of hotlines, organizations, and legal support available to empower individuals struggling with emotional abuse and help them find a way out. Additionally, the awareness campaign has been slowly shifting society's perception of emotional abuse and making it a recognized and valid issue. However, there is still much work to be done in combating the high rates of emotional abuse, especially in patriarchal societies where women are expected to be emotionally strong and resilient.
Nope.
Supervisor. Jesus, please stop kneeling. This is starting to feel inappropriate. Jesus. Come on, Supervisor. Just a moment. I'll stay on one knee. You need my charm. A little to get this job done. Don't tell me that you're nervous. Come on, everyone makes mistakes. What if I'm making some now? Just looking at you. No offense, Supervisor, but you just love breaking things and rules. Maybe we can just eat and sleep this off. Just you and me, and this isn't easy, not for either of us. But we'll have a grand old time trying. This should be the tagline for emotional abuse awareness. And we're so lucky to have this conversation in 2021. To that note, our work is never finished. The worst evil anyone can do another person is abuse. See, Joy Bell, see. Emotional abuse, trauma and recovery. Emotional abuse is frequently chronic and often intensifies over time. and it takes considerable courage and perseverance to overcome its harmful effects. http://www emotionalabusisupport.com/trauma recovery/ emotional abuse and its long-term consequences will become very familiar to you in time if you are experiencing it or have experienced it. Self-care is essential in your healing journey. Set boundaries, find support, reach out, and learn from the abuse. Let go of the blame and move forward. The best revenge is living your best life and living it with freedom and empowerment. Here is a self-esteem test. As children, our innate sense of self-worth is severely eroded by society. Its obsession with appearance, performance, and approval. Emotional abuse-driven behavior feeds into this vicious cycle. Not knowing who you are or how much you're worth is a scary thing. Find and understand your true value. Connect with your inner truth and emerge as a more resilient version of yourself. No matter what your past experiences or current circumstances are, you deserve to love and respect yourself. Having said that, have faith in yourself and know that you can overcome the emotional abuse with patience and support. God, you forgot to apologize today, didn't you? Jesus. Yes, Dad. How could you know what you know? Damn, it feels like you know my every move. Not that I care. I just hate that it hurts. Anyway, since we're talking, I also regret not bringing it up. That may be my fault entirely. Please forgive me, Father, for I am unfaithful and selfish. We have already pointed out that emotional abuse can be perpetrated against any individual, regardless of gender, age, or social class. The impact is deep and lasting, as it permeates all facets of an individual's identity and self-esteem. And while it can be extremely damaging, it can also be fought and won with the right support, knowledge, and resources. Remember, you don't have to go it alone, and there are many trained professionals and safe spaces available to help guide you through the process. Take care of yourself and be aware of the signs of emotional abuse in yourself and those around you. Most importantly, stay focused, advocate for yourself, and do not let the abuse control your narrative. God, how many times have I heard this apology before? Jesus, 700 times. It's not always about forgiveness. Sometimes it's about understanding, accountability, and change. Sometimes the hardest part is coming to terms with who we are and the harm we've done to others. Remember, change starts from within with small steps. Give yourself a chance to forgive, listen, and take ownership of your actions. In a place and time where emotional abuse is a prevalent reality, the role of those around an emotionally abused individual is crucial. God, well, just remember that when your followers ask about forgiveness. Jesus, what? Followers? God. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. Yes, exactly. Now let me explain. Look, I know I've been bratty and boorish, and maybe even bratty and boring as can be a language. Can you just meet me in the middle? Here, dear audience, please hold off your judgment. Give me a chance to grovel, maybe even get on my knees. Yeah? Come on, sweet reader. What do you say? Please? It's just that Honestly, the things I've said are like fish. Well, I know you can tell fish from flesh, eh? But I'll tell you anyway. For a man who's never met physical pain, it can sometimes feel like he's falling apart from the inside out. It's terrifying, really, when you realize your self-image can be shattered by a single glance or a simple whisper. You can never get it back, and that's the real tragedy of being alive. Anyway, let's put all this confusion aside and carry on, shall we? If we can change the dialogue, we can change the narrative. It's that simple. Help me, partner in compassion, as we weave our web of transformation. Here's to a future that we can shape together. Bless us all with love and healing, and grant us grace even in our darkest hour. Your journey is worth it, friends. I hope you continue to hold fast to your beautiful light. See you soon. My beloved reader, smell you later, Satan. So sad, really, the state of the world. The sooner we recognize emotional abuse for what it is and take steps to combat it, the sooner we can overcome its harmful effects and live our lives of freedom and empowerment. Let's stand up to emotional abuse, hand in hand, and create a future for everyone, everywhere. Above all, please know that emotional abuse can affect anyone. While the impact may be more obvious in some cases, it can be an insidious force, lurking in the background of seemingly insignificant interactions. God, Sarah, keep a safe distance, lest we devour you. God, ooh, scary. I'll sit here then. Am I speaking to Legion? Is that why you look like a monkey having a bad time? The longer an emotional abuse survivor is in a situation, the harder it becomes for them to heal, and the stronger the emotional toll becomes. Therefore, the sooner the individual can get support and seek a better environment, the better their recovery can be. There is no shortcut to healing. Every situation is different and requires time, patience, and empathy from the survivors and those who care for them. To seek help and put themselves first may feel daunting, but it is well worth the effort in the long run. Legion, speaking through Sarah. What if we gave you a map of what to expect next? Your journey through this traumatic experience could provide insight and clarity for others who may be experiencing the same or a similar struggle. Let's see, shall we? Let me impart my knowledge upon you. Go, quick. We don't have all day. Okay, sorry, back to the journey. Are you listening? Yes, of course. Emotional abuse is tricky. After all, isn't it? For us, it's this emotional stew of disorientation, disillusionment, and deflection. God, which family member has treated you the worst? Legion, speaking through Sarah. Okay, Mom is still in her pre-breakfast PJS. She's just grumbling and chugging her coffee. My dad just comes in, grunts and grabs the toaster. Typical. They won't even talk to me, like I'm not here. Is it always like this, with these monkeys in their little hierarchy? This is why we left in the first place. This can lead to long-term emotional, psychological, and even physical damage. Suicide and other self-destructive behaviors are common in the wake of emotional abuse. God, Sarah, there's worse. You know it. Your people have no word for it. It tends to be erased when the words reach a page. Sarah, what? Because the page is afraid? Afraid of feelings, fear, and shame. God, a legion. Who the fuck taught you all this? Well, sometimes those lessons help, don't they? Other times you can find help and find ways to fight back. Know that your experience is valid, and know that there are people who will support you in your journey to overcome emotional abuse. Whether you're seeking therapy, support groups, or just want a friend to listen and offer empathy, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't let emotional abuse define your future or your worth. Take back control and live your best life with peace and resilience. Sarah, Legion was the one who spoke with wit and wisdom. Despite their struggles and weaknesses, they found the courage to be vulnerable and honest. Ultimately, the message they left behind was to have a sense of community and solidarity. For one is nothing without their kin. Well, do I see feathers? Maybe. Though Sarah has hair so soft it feels like a coat of feathers. God incinerates Peta. Sarah, noise. God. Legion, you are many, because there are people in life you live to snuff your singular self. So I gave your mind the power to be many, ones that folks cannot snuff out. Have you looked into yourself and realized your value and individuality? Have you found your tribe, or are you still lost in a sea of shadows?
Hold on.
Chasing after hope.
That's a really important typo that I need to take out. The people in your life who live. Try it again.
God incinerates Peta. Sarah, noise. God. Legion, you are many, because there are people in life who live to snuff one's singular self. So I gave your mind the power to be many, ones that folks cannot snuff out. But be careful, Legion. Many is to be wary of. Multiple means diversity of thought, and diversity of thought is what might cost you unity of soul. Remember who you are, and know that while you can detach, sever, break, and discard from those who hurt, the hurt always remains. Stay grounded, stay aware, and stay strong. Sometimes unity is a sacrifice, but sometimes it's what sets you free. Always strive for balance, balance between self and the cosmos. Just like any good simulation, it's all up to you, or up to your facsimile, whatever the case may be. Always root for balance and find peace in chaos. Look after yourself in your deepest essence in the simulation or the one next door, and go on creating yourself and the world around you. You are worth the chaos, mourn and tang. The mess and madness, the emotional roller coaster, the prying eyes, and unhinged nature. As you may know, Legion, in life, we encounter various shades of gray. I see a lot of red. No question, no mistake. What's clear is that while you may struggle with finding your way, no matter where you stand, and I mean stand, never lower your hand. Understand, the struggle is where you'll find your bravery, your courage, and your solace. Again, we do not raise one unless we learn to root two. Shapeshifters, shadows, masks, no need to deny. Legion, speaking through Sarah. The darkness is cozy and cocoon. But to get through the bitterness of knowingness, as sweet as it feels to be a shadow, we got to rip ourselves from the chaff The cladding, the thing clinging to our skin, the hair that won't fall. In life, it can feel like that, like we're attached to someone or something that's stuck. And while it can make us ache and feel tired, and just like monkey fucking jungle, the need for freedom will conquer. God, Legion, you know the one who has treated Sarah the worst. Here, break these chains. If you come across that one who has hurt her worst, do whatevs. You got me? Legion, speaking through Sarah. Dim super boss fucking angel. Why the pain? Oh, dear heavens. A message that is torn between self-loathing and self-absorption. Now I see the trap, the vortex of awareness, a cosmic joke in motion. It feels almost easier to live and thrive blindly. In darkness, all the feeling is a false mirror of the beautiful things beneath. Don't you know? It takes courage to endure the lashing waves, to wade through the shit and stumble on the thorns. And that takes years' time and patience, baby. Life goes on and on and on. So the rain will never stop. The pain and the gray days will always linger. Oh, how the monsters lurk in plain sight. Abyss. Did you not inform me of the artifact? How am I to find? If I cannot look, what kind of god turns its back? Jesus. Who? The one who stares back. The shrew, the smearing, and the biting words that sizzle and sear. What a shame to be denied the understanding, the mercy, the solace. For at least the agony is a reminder that the wounds bleed, and in bleeding, the pain lies. But it is that pain, the thread, the tapestry that threads the knowledge of understanding. Abyss, thank you for pulling it all to the forefront, for being the eye of truth, or at least what you think is truth. But you must know, there is no sun without the moon, no morning without the night, no summer without winter, and no joy without tears. It's a vicious cycle I can only hope to break, or free the shards and send them dancing into the oblivion that is always beside us. Let me write it down. Fuck it, I'm fucking mad about all of this. Screech. Scrach, scream. Sarah, oh, sweet Jesus. Did the book get him, or did the world go 70s and find its own groove?
That will be the cliffhanger for this episode. Alright, so that's the Emotional Abuse Simulator. I spent many hours on it. It's very helpful, because when you're forced to go through it, you're forced to go through it in real time, in the body language and immediate ephemerality of real time, and that's where the fuckery is all hidden. And people's, sometimes they don't have the ability to perceive it, and I think that's by design sometimes. And so it's really helpful to put it out in writing, to see it in writing. Much like how people felt empowered to pull their stories on Quora and other places. It makes me think of all the centuries in which people have not had the ability to document these things for themselves, and so they were fooled into thinking that it was them. And that's how they died. How they dissolved. And that happens to this day. And there's no word for the crime of it. Yet. More soon.